Welcome back. This is Matteo, and you're listening to Kingdom of Healing. You're listening to 710 Radio, 22.9, The Moth, Denver, Colorado. I'm going to go back to this with eczema and different dermatitises. And one of the things that's real important, started to talk a little bit about wheat, corn, soy. Get them out of your diet. There's a lot of sensitivities to these grains, and we don't need them. We really don't. There are better sources of protein. Bromine that is used in the process of making bread is carcinogenic. It's toxic. It's poison, and you don't need to be bringing it into the system. It is a dough conditioner, so we want that out of your diet. There's a wonderful book called Eat Right for Your Blood Type, and it's Dr. D. Adamo. And he goes through your different blood types, and there are certain foods that respond better to specific blood types. O blood types are the meat eaters, original, the cavemen were O blood type. They were the hunters and gatherers, and they had a lot of physical energy exerted every day in hunting down their food and gathering up their berries and produce and stuff. So everybody originates. O blood type is the original blood type, and all other blood types came from O. So your A blood types, your AB, your Bs, they all, the main blood factor is an O blood type. So we find that when people get sick, or if you're on a transplant program, O blood type people are the universal donor, and that is why. Because at the core of every blood type, there is the O blood type factor. So O is a universal donor, so organs and tissue from an O donor can be used with an O, an A, a B, or an AB. However, and blood, if you don't know in an emergency situation what their blood type is, they're given O blood. So, O negative. So the thing is that anything happens with an O blood type, they can only have that comes from an O. They cannot have A, they cannot have B, and they cannot have anything from an AB. It is toxic. So the O blood type people are the meat eaters. They do well with a high meat diet and vegetables that grow above the ground. The fruits that are good for O's are more like kiwi, cherries, pineapple. There's a small amount of fruits that you can have. Watermelon you can, and what's nice about watermelon is it's the highest on the alkaline chart. It's 10.5. So when you're sick, watermelon is the best thing to eat when you're sick, for any blood type. A blood types are the natural vegetarians. They do well with fish and fowl. They're the only ones who can really tolerate the grains, fruits and vegetables. B blood types can have a little bit from every food group, and they are the only ones who do okay with dairy, so is the B. So an AB blood type, which is the rarest blood type, they are able to have a lot from the different food groups. So I would find out anyone dealing with any conditions of eczema, dermatitises, psoriasis. Psoriasis is autoimmune. It is genetic. That is where instead of taking 28 days to make new skin, you make new skin in 24 hours. This is why they'll build up on like patches and come off, and then it's raw, exposed tissue. So psoriasis is different from eczema in that how we treat and bring the body into balance is different. We can still use on the same things in psoriasis conditions on the skin, the golden salve, aloe vera, the silver gel, poti arco, and those are things too that we use as well on eczema conditions or a dermatitis condition. Say like shingles ends up giving you a dermatitis, inflammation on the skin from shingles, and they're very painful and they weep. But you need to be taking that silver internally to kill the virus that comes from the chickenpox virus. And so if you've had a chickenpox immunization, well, touche. There you go. That's where it lives in the tissue, and when you run yourself down and your body's weak and the body's acidic, you give disease and anything that is lurking in any of the tissue, you give it total opportunity to rear its ugly head. So I would get your hands on a book of the blood type diet, and you can even look it up online. And but you do need to know what your blood type is, and it will go through what is extremely beneficial for your blood type, what is neutral. Things that are neutral are things that you can take in to have in your diet that don't affect you one way or another. But then there are things to be avoided. And with your specific blood chemistry, these foods that need to be avoided are just that. Those are foods that you do not put in your mouth, because they are foods that are not broken down very well due to the type of chemistry that you have with your bloodstream. Diet is your food is your medicine, and that's where you need to start. And if you're not willing to make the changes in your diet and do supplements that are non-toxic to the body, if you want to continue to eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, eating dairy and corn and orange juice, very acidic, unless you live in California or Florida where it can be picked right fresh off a tree and juiced immediately, that's good.
Right, because I tell you what, you go buy the orange juice out of the store, and it's gone through a pasteurization process where all the nutrients, all the vitamins, the vitamin C has been taken out of it. So the color that you see, that orange, it's all a chemical. The vitamin C has to be added back into it. So it's a chemical vitamin C added back into it. So you're not actually, we're live, man.
And it's like all these foods that are enriched. They strip them all out through the process, and then they add this synthetic stuff back in. Now, remember, I told you, if you look under a microscope at a synthetic-made vitamin, and I can't name any names, but there's a big one out there, and they're real well known. And hey, you know what? It was about 25 years ago that I formulated a nutritional line for a company here in Denver. And they found the chemist who had the manufacturing plant that put together these vitamins. And I did get a little upset with the company because this particular chemist who formulated for this well-known name brand synthetic vitamins, he wanted my name. And they refused to give it to him because he wanted to talk with me about changes that could be made to their line. And unfortunately, about 3 years later, here comes their introduction of their new improved line, where it's got some herbs added to it, but they still missed the boat. I'm sorry. A synthetic vitamin, and then you add some herbs to it, you've not made it better. You still have a synthetic vitamin. And synthetic vitamins will actually cause the problem that you're trying to take a specific vitamin to correct if it's synthetic. You know, the other thing with synthetic, I want to go back to, if you look at it under a microscope, a synthetic vitamin has no energy field. It has no energy field at all. You take a food-based, naturally derived vitamin, and you look at it under a high-powered microscope, it has an energy field. It has an aura. It has green and blue and orange and red that emanates out from that vitamin. It's alive. It's alive. It's food. It's alive. It will deliver nutrition to your cell. That dead vitamin, and there's plenty of dead vitamins out there, just like there's plenty of dead food, like enriching the food. Years ago, somebody asked me, you know, isn't it amazing that we've all grown up with clean your plate, there's children in Africa starving. Well, you know, the Bible tells us, you know, Jesus always said, that we know we're always going to have the poor. But, you know, over in Africa, my brother went over there and spent a month, and he said he never in 1 month, he went into third world Africa, and he said he'd never witnessed so many naked people in his life, whole families, you know, no clothes, no shoes, no clothes. The thing is that one thing that I will tell you about when you look at how are these women still, with the level of starvation over there, how are these women still able to reproduce? How can that be possible? And we see them in the pictures with, you know, their breasts all shriveled up. They're dehydrated. They're trying to nurse this baby. This child has a swollen stomach. The child is starving. But they're still reproducing and having children, where, you know what, the United States has more reproductive problems than any country in the world. And you look at how plentiful and what waste we have. Well, I'm going to tell you, one thing that Africa, you know, was getting from us that we don't have, and this was like, you know, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, is they send all of the rice over there that's not been stripped to be the white rice that Americans want to eat.